Good morning student, I am your bio teacher and in this video we are going to study about the fertilization. In the previous video already we have studied about that pollination. You know what is meant by pollination? The pollen grain is a transfer from anther to the stigma. This process is called as the pollination, and in this video we are study about the fertilization. Let's see what is the definition of fertilization. Fertilization is a process in which fusion of male cell with the female cell and to produce the zygote. This process is called as the fertilization. Got it everybody? What is meant by fertilization? Fertilization is the process in which the fusion of male gamete with the female gamete. This process is called as the fertilization. Let's see the diagram what is meant by fertilization. In the previous video already we have studied about that. This is the anther and this is a filament. Got it? This is called as the stamen and it is also called as the androecium. In the anther there is the pollen sac and there is so many pollen yellow in color, and when the pollen grain, and this is a carpel, it is also called as the gynoecium. It is the stigma, it is the style, and this is the stigma, this is the style, and this is a ovary. And in ovules already we have studied this part of the flower. This is the female parts of the flower. It is also called as the gynoecium and this is called as the androecium. When the pollen grain is reaches on the stigma, when the pollen grain is reaches on the stigma, the pollen grain have some chemical and this is the stigma, it have a moisture. With the help of moisture, the pollen grains are began to grow the pollen tube. The pollen grains are grow the pollen tube and this pollen tube is run through the style and reaches to the ovules. And in the pollen tube have a male nucleus and the male nucleus are transferred into the ovary when the male nucleus fuse with the female nucleus, and this process is called as the fertilization. When the male nucleus fuse with the female nucleus and they produce the zygote, and this process is called as the fertilization. Got it everybody? What is meant by fertilization? Fertilization is the process in which the male cell fuse with the female cell and produce the zygote. This process is called as the fertilization. Got it everybody? Pollen grain are reaches on the stigma by the help of pollination. The pollen grain increase the pollen tube and this tube reaches in the ovaries and release the male cell. In the ovary there is a ovules, egg cell. Ovules is also called eggs. It is fused, the male cell fuse with the eggs and to produce the zygote. This process is called as the fertilization. Got it everybody? After the fertilization form the zygote and zygote convert into the seed. Ovules convert into the seed and ovary convert into fruits, and another part of the flower is the sepal, petals, all are fall down. Got it everybody? This process is called as the fertilization. Fertilization means the process in which the pollen grain is a male gamete. Male gametes fuse with the ovary is a female gamete fused with the ovary and to produce the zygote. Zygote is also called as the embryo. Zygote to form the embryo means it is a seed, and when we are germinate the seed, we get the seedling and we get the new baby plant. This process is called as the fertilization. Everybody understood this lesson? In this lesson, we are study about that the reproduction in the plant. We are see asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, already we have studied about that binary fission, budding, fragmentation, spore formation, vegetative reproduction. In the vegetative reproduction, already we have two ways: natural vegetative reproduction and artificial vegetative reproduction. And we have also studied about that the sexual reproduction. The flower is the reproductive part of the plant. Already we have studied the parts of flower and which part is called male gamete. Androecium is called male gamete and the gynoecium is called as the female gamete. Androecium is also called as carpel and it stamen, and it contain anther and filament. And the gynoecium is the also called as carpel. It contain stigma, style and ovary. In last video we already studied about that the pollination. Pollination means what? The process in which the pollen grain is a transfer from anther to the stigma. And in this video we are detailed study about that fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of the male and female gamete and produce the zygote. In plant, when the male and female gametes are fused with each other, it produces the ovules and ovary, and another part is a fall up, and the fruits is the ovary parts and which attach to the stalk of the flower. Got it, everybody? And next video I will explain the question answer of this lesson. Thank you.